Are we bored of folding drones yet? Definitely not. Geek Buying have just sent us the new Ming DM107 and we've got it for review. Enjoy this video, please be sure to comment below with your thoughts, subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. So this one's into us from Geek Buying and it's called the Ming DM107S. Quite an interesting name to it there. So basically this is a brushed Wi-Fi controlled drone, presented really nice. This box is really solid and really good quality. It's compatible with iOS and Android, and it's basically a Wi-Fi controlled drone with a transmitter as well. So let's have a look inside. So the drone immediately reminds me of a certain mini portable drone by DJI. The Spark, by any chance, anyone? But yeah, this is a lovely little folding drone, nice and compact, and I do love flying these brushed drones, so I'm looking forward to the flight test on this. We'll have a look at the drone in more detail in a sec. We'll just quickly see what else is in the box. So first of all, we've got a set of prop guards. Most of these brush quads now come with prop guards, which is quite nice. It just means if you are a complete beginner, it makes it a little bit easier to bounce off people and walls. Don't bounce off people though, please. We've got some spare props, and also in there is a little USB charger as well and a screwdriver. We have a tiny little micro transmitter. That's really cute. Little on and off switch there. We'll have a look at that probably in more detail during the flight test, but that takes two AA batteries in the rear as well. And how nice to see that the battery flap does not have one of those annoying screws in it. So yeah, two AA batteries in there to get that powered up. This is 2.4 gigs, so probably range-wise you're expecting about 50 meters. Got a little clip here. Now that clip clips onto the transmitter, and I'll show you that during the flight test, and lets you put your phone in there so that you can see the live Wi-Fi stream whilst you're flying the aircraft. And then finally, instruction manual and a quick start guide as well, just to get you up and into the air nice and quickly. So let's have a look in more detail at the drone. So as mentioned, this is a little brushed quadcopter. Don't expect it to perform anything like the Spark. This only costs $55 or about £50. And basically it's got folding arms. Love these folding designs, which makes it actually look a decent size. So yeah, with the arms folded out, nice and sturdy arms there, and on the end of those arms we have got brushed motors with some really large gears on there, but they do spin quite freely, so I'm not expecting this to have lots of torque, but they're certainly going to spin nice and fast. The main body and the materials of the drone are plastic. The arms are a much thicker, stronger, more durable feeling plastic, which is good because they're going to take the impact of any crash, but the main body is a slightly lighter, more flexible plastic. The props that we've got on there are pretty large as well. Take the little prop spinners off, and there you can access the screw to remove those props in case you need to change them. So quite an easy swap out process if you do manage to break one of those blades. Looking at the rear, not a lot to say there besides the battery. So if we push that out like that, there we have a one cell 900 milliamp battery. So 900 milliamps is actually quite big for a 1S battery. You don't normally see 1S batteries of that capacity. So I'm expecting a pretty good flight time on this, especially seeing as this drone weighs virtually nothing. At the front, we've got the camera module, and that is actually a 2 megapixel camera, which should give us 720p. And the lens on the front also tilts up and down, which is quite nice. It's a lovely big lens on this one, I noticed as well, so I think the FOV is going to be a little bit big, but we'll see during the flight test just how usable the footage is from that camera. It looks like this bay is actually replaceable as well, so you might be able to swap this out for a higher resolution camera at a later date, but for now this is a 2 megapixel model. And then finally on the underside we've got lights, and I would imagine that when we turn this drone on, there you go, they all illuminate like that. So we've got blue on the front, red on the back. So that looks quite nice actually. They're not visible from the top, but they are visible from the bottom of the arms. And there are two little LEDs on the front as well, so it's got little eyes. And also just finally to mention, the power button is quite well disguised or hidden here, or camouflage, but it is actually there. So if you press that, that turns it on and off as well. So the only thing really missing from this quad is actually an SD card slot, which unfortunately this camera module doesn't have. So the footage captured from it is going to be stored on your phone locally, and therefore might not be so great, but we'll see during the flight test. Anyway, let's have a quick look at the transmitter. So So this is a very cute little transmitter, very cute indeed. We've got some basic controls, pretty much the same as every other budget transmitter. On and off switch in the middle. We've got auto land and auto takeoff there. We've got a stop button to cut the props immediately. And then we've got video and photo buttons. So nice that they are labeled, which makes a nice refreshing change. Then on the left-hand side, we've got our trim buttons, which trim the flight of the aircraft. So if it's drifting to the left, the right, or the front, or the back. So that's useful, nice and accessible. And of course, we've got our analog sticks as well, which are nice and lightweight. Finally, we've got two shoulder buttons as well. We've got one which changes the sensitivity of the flight. So you've got 3 different sensitivity modes. And then finally, our stunt button for doing some 3D flips. So we'll definitely be trying that out during the flight test, which is next.
So finally in the UK, we've got a break in the horrible weather and it's beautiful here today. So what we're going to be doing is testing the new Ming DM107 from Geek Buying, and this is a new folding drone at a pretty budget price as well. So first thing we're going to do is unfold it. The battery's in there, slotted in. Obviously it's all fully charged up as well. And I'm now going to turn on that drone by pressing the power button. Doesn't make any beeps or anything, but we have got lights on the arms so that we know it's on. Now obviously it's going to start emitting Wi-Fi, so what I'm also going to do now is connect my phone to it. So I'm going to start up the Wi-Fi settings. Fly UFO we can see, so I'm going to connect to that now. And then the app is actually called HD FPV, and there are lots of these little apps on the Play Store and also on iOS, I'm sure. But yeah, this one's called HD FPV. Open to that, click play, and we should get full screen video. So yeah, there we go. Now, interestingly, it's upside down. Wonder why that is. Let's see if we can reverse. There we go. Okay, I'll reverse the video. So, I must say, first impressions of that video quality are, actually, that's pretty nice. I'm going to record that and show you that video on the screen now. Unfortunately, I can't show you the video or photos from this drone because despite the app stating that they were being captured, they weren't stored. The drone doesn't have an SD card slot either, and so they were sadly lost. The live stream worked, however, and so this is probably just a case of a bug in the app, which I have reported, and it will hopefully be fixed. From the quality of the live stream, I would say that the video quality from this drone is going to be pretty good. That's certainly the contrast and the colours are really vibrant. However, this has no SD card, remember, so the video is streamed straight to the phone, and that's where it's also recorded, so the quality is not going to be great. Now, I forgot the phone holder for the transmitter, so I can't mount it on here, unfortunately, which is a real shame. But I'm going to leave the phone down here, leave it recording. We've got the transmitter, so I'm going to bind it with that now by pressing the power on, throttle up to full, and then back down to 0, and we're now bound. So we've got the buttons on here. Let's get this in the air and we'll also see what the flight time's like. I'm expecting about 6 minutes probably. So, okay, stand back a little bit and press the auto takeoff button. And we're up. So remember, it's got altitude hold, this one as well. So at the moment I'm giving no inputs on altitude, but we have got a bit of drift, so I'm going to fix that by trimming it a little bit until it's completely idle. Look at that, that's lovely. So let's make it up a bit. And it looks great with this sky today, doesn't it? Beautiful weather for it. Looks really nice up there. I've got it trimmed quite beautifully as well. Yeah. Now I've left the camera at this time pointing straight forward. So we'll see what the video footage is like from that, but that looks nice. Now the controls on the transmitter are proportionate as well, so you can see I can give it tiny little adjustments here. And it's a very, very smooth flyer. It looks nice with those little blue lights on the front as well. Hopefully you can see me on the onboard video. So let's do, first of all, a failsafe test. This is the bit I love doing. So I'm going to grab hold of the drone, turn off the transmitter, and see what happens. There we go. Motor's cut within literally seconds. So that is what I like to see. Well done, Ming, for doing that. So I'm going to rearm it. Let's see if I can take it off from my hand. Oh, yeah, perfect. So we're in the basic sensitivity at the moment. Now, because I am outdoors, I'm actually going to change that immediately into the second setting, just to give me a bit more control authority. So that is the button on the left here. So I'm in second, so let's give it a fly around. It's a very calm little flyer. Very, very controlled. It doesn't really drift on the controls at all. It's very, very stable. In fact, I need more power, more speed, so I'm going to go to the third sensitivity. You can see we've got a bit more tilt on that now. This is a very calm flyer, very calm. Off into the sunset. Yeah, very, very calm. Altitude hold seems to be working nicely as well. Hopefully we've got the video recording on there as well. So yeah, that's very, very smooth. Let's just quickly check the video, live video feed. Oh, dropped my phone. So the live video is looking nice as well. Stream is looking a little bit jerky. I think that's more to do with the fact that this stream looks to me to be at least 720p. I can see props in the footage as well, so it'll be interesting. I'll put some of the onboard footage on the screen now to see if those props are visible. In the meantime, let's do some acrobatics in this beautiful sky. So let's go for a flip. Okay, so get it down a little bit, and here we go. Woohoo! Very nice. We'll now try another flip. Love that sound. So that flips quite nicely, actually. Hey! Very tidy compared to some of these large quadcopters. Very nice. So what we'll now do is just take it for a bit of a distance, actually, get a bit of altitude as well. I'm expecting the range on this to be probably about 30, maybe 40 meters. It's a really nice flyer, very, very calm and subdued. Very, very responsive on this transmitter as well. And this transmitter is just so tiny, it feels really funny to control this thing with, but flies very, very nicely. This is on the third sensitivity. I'm not giving any throttle at the moment. This is completely altitude hold entirely. Goes really nice. Let's see if we can get around those goalposts. You might struggle to see it on the video feed, but I'll show you the on-screen footage. Yay, there we go, and through them. Nice. So range-wise, those goalposts I would say are probably about 30 meters away. So let's try and go a little bit further. We know the failsafe works. I don't want it to drop out of the sky though, so I'm not going to go too far, but that's quite some distance away. I mean, you wouldn't want to take it much further away than that because you wouldn't be able to see it. But that flies nicely. I'm quite impressed. What a beautiful sky. So let's get some aerial footage now. Let's take it a little bit higher. The ascent rate is quite... now that's interesting. We've got flashing LEDs on the bottom. Is that because of battery? Oh, it looks like... Not sure, hard to tell. It could be an altitude limitation, actually. Are they still flashing? Yeah, they're still flashing. So I'll try and go up again. Yeah, okay. That's an interesting safety feature, and there's no button on here to override that, interestingly. So, okay, I can't go any higher than that, and it warns you by flashing the LEDs. Now, I don't think that's a bad thing, actually, because for a beginner, you know, you're going to be trying to go for altitude records. Well, you can't with this one. And I think that's a good safety feature, actually, in some respects. Now, I'm just going to stop the video recording. And very important with these cheap drones, to make sure that you don't disconnect the power before you stop recording, because you can corrupt your video file. Let's take some photos. So there's one. And let's take another one. And now, interestingly, the app just crashed, actually. That's a shame. Okay, so a bit of a buggy app there, potentially. Flight time is really good as well. I'm not sure how long we've been flying yet, but this is quite a long flight, I would say. And no noticeable drop in power either. I notice the LEDs are still flashing on the bottom of it. But it's good fun to fly this one. Let's do a bit of a fast pass in front of us. So even in maximum sensitivity, it's still not ridiculously fast, but it's good enough. Here we go, another pass. Let's do another one. No let up in the power yet. Still going really, really well. So yeah, I would say in summary, this is a nice drone. I think price-wise, I can't remember exactly how much it is, but I think it's about $45, $50 or so. But it's certainly nice and portable with the folding arms. It's pretty robust in terms of the way it's built as well. It's got some nice flips, which it can do. And in terms of the transmitter, the range, the responsiveness, very, very nice. Oh, and there we go. That's the end of the battery. So we have been flying in total for, wow, about 7 or 8 minutes. So actually that's quite good for a tiny little drone like this and a tiny battery as well.
At the time of filming this flight test, I wasn't aware that the onboard footage wouldn't be captured, and that was a real disappointment. But it's an app bug, which can easily be fixed, and I'll update the video description when I hear back from Geek Buying or the app developers.
So yeah, very nice drone. Enjoyed that flight test. What I'll do now is put on the screen some positives and negatives for you regarding this drone, and links to it are in the video description if you would like to buy one of these. And of course, please do comment below, click the thumbs up button, and of course subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Thanks very much for watching.